was in Portugal a little while ago, and I was walking through the train station, and I noticed all these posters on the walls for an art exhibit that they were having. And the main picture for this art exhibit was that banana taped to a wall. I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but there's this famous piece of art that's a banana literally duct taped to a wall. And I was just walking through the train station like, why out of all things is that what gets this beautiful art show? You know what I mean? And this has me thinking just more and more and more about the kind of art that we are exposed to in everyday life now, because we are exposed to mounds of content. Mostly of it is AI slop, I would say, but essentially I think there's this trend that art is becoming a little bit less and less meaningful, I guess. Maybe not meaningful is the right word, but it's less precious, I think is the right word for it. Like, people, the famous paintings that you used to see in the Renaissance and by these old classical oil portrait artists, they took days to make, sometimes years. The Mona Lisa took like 30 years to make, and it's layer upon layer upon layer. But now I feel like art is mainly just content, I think. Art is meant to be now put out at such a large, fast scale that it kind of loses that old, timeless, meaningful quality where you sit down and then you do it over the course of a few days. And there's something sacred about taking your time to do a piece of art and taking your time to do things, which is what AI and ChatGPT totally missed the mark on. But there's something sacred about just like, in this consumerist world that thrives upon speed and the quick switch of content and an overflow of media, just taking your time and doing something with full intention and doing something because you love it. And all of this makes me kind of sad. I hate seeing AI everywhere. I hate it. I hate the fact that we are now so accustomed to using shortcuts that I don't think we as a human race can even go back to where we were like 4 years ago when it comes to things like essay writing and stuff like that. Like, I don't think people are even capable of doing the same things that they were a few years ago because of AI. And the modern art aspect of it too. Like, look at the modern art trend. I know I'm using finger quotes. There's some modern art that I like, but you can tell that a lot of it is really just for like a painting that just says, I own this painting because I'm rich and I'm showing you because I'm rich. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not necessarily you're buying it because it's good art. You're buying it because it's a status symbol, and it's just like telling everyone, like, look at me, I can afford this $6.2 million painting of a banana duct taped to a wall. It's actually not even a painting. It's just a banana duct taped to a wall. But there's a specific kind of society that makes something like that successful. And that kind of society is one that no longer values art. I hate to say it, but with the rise of shitty modern art and AI art, I don't think society values art at all. which is very disheartening to hear if you're an aspiring artist or someone who wants to make a living off of it. And it is really sad because art really is just, for me, one of the reasons I stay alive. It's my lifeline. But basically, this got me thinking about this Substack that I was reading about the new Renaissance, about how we are due for a new Renaissance. And I was reading one of the comments under the Substack, and the comments was saying something like, when you look back through history at the first Renaissance, right before that Renaissance happened was the Dark Ages. And you know, they're the Dark Ages. There's like plague and shit. It's not good. I don't know much about the Dark Ages, but society was not in a place that valued art. And then all of a sudden you had this explosion of the classics coming back and art everywhere and talented artists. You know, it came out of nothing. And that's really kind of the history of art when you look at it. It really just comes at a time when you need it the most. Which is why I'm saying there's a new Renaissance coming. And it is coming now. And it is coming because you are gonna make it come. Think about it, okay? This is really some of the lowest that we can go. We are literally using robots to make art instead of human beings. And it's not necessarily even good art. It's gonna get better and better, and it's gonna copy humans more and more. But the one thing that it can never have is soul. And soul is something that we have sort of lost, not as individuals, but as a society when it comes to art. I mean, look at the freaking blue painting that got sold for millions of dollars. It's literally the color blue. Anyways, because we are going through this time of creative suppression and overflow of AI slop, I think we are going to be tasked with redefining what soul really means in art. We are gonna have to, actually. I sincerely believe that if we don't make a conscious effort in order to do so, it is not gonna lead anywhere. But like, we need a new Renaissance, and we need people to be open-minded to it, unless art will die. And that should not happen. Okay, that was a little bit dramatic. I know I'm being a little bit dramatic, but I take this very seriously. We need people, not just artists, we need ordinary people to realize the value of art. And I will make a whole nother video about why ordinary people should like art and the value of art. But for now, I think it's up to artists to really take a stand and bring on the Renaissance, because baby, it is coming. It is not stopping, and it's up to you to bring it on. So I think that we need to show ordinary people, first things first, we need to show ordinary people how important art is. There's this huge misconception that art is just, you look at it and it's pretty, maybe you hang it up on a wall and then done, it makes a nice centerpiece or whatever. No, art is more than that. When you look throughout history, art is a tool. Art is how you measure the state of the economy at that time, the state of society. Art is how you measure progress. Art is how we came to synthesize major historical events. Art for our time is actually a piece of history. Like, when you are making art, you are making history, because you are a product of your society and your generation and whatever the pressures of your generation is. Your art is a direct result of you, and you are a piece of history. That's why you can look at paintings from I'm going to do another video about the Rococo era art because I love Rococo art, but that's why you can look at paintings from the Rococo era and tell exactly the economic state of France at the time, you know? It's really important. Art also teaches you empathy because you have to look into someone else's shoes and perspectives when you're looking at a painting. It makes you feel things more. It's so important. And I don't think ordinary people know that, because that's why AI art is replacing art. I went to a freaking antique shop today and they had little AI llamas all over the wall. Okay, cute. I love llamas, but that just irked me the wrong way. I don't really know why it irks me so much, but I would rather see a real artist have art on those walls instead of AI. And I'm talking like I'm a complete AI hater right now, but I'm not. Like, I use AI. It's fun and it gives me inspiration sometimes. I certainly don't want it taking over my job though. Okay, where was I going with this? Back on track. But anyways, ordinary people don't understand that. That's why AI is so popular. And it's up to us as artists to make people understand the importance of it. So that is task number 1, reaching ordinary people. There's a lot of different ways you can do this. For me, I'm gonna do an initiative where I do a free public mural for someone. And I don't want it to just be like this pretty mural that you look at. I want it to mean something. So I'm thinking of doing a public mural that has something to do with art history, and then when people can read the name on it and they get curious and they start looking up about art history, and that teaches them something about society and history in general. Anyways, and that also might mean encouraging your friends to do some artsy stuff with you. Like, take your friends to art classes, take your friends to art galleries and openings, and have them come to artist networking events. Even if they're not artists, they should just still be involved in the world and see its value. The second thing that we need to do is indulge in our own creativity. That is something that AI can never have. It can never have your creativity in your brain. So by indulging in just doing watercolor for a day, go to your cafe and do some watercolor, is indulging your own creativity. When you are being creative, you never know what's gonna hit you. You can have some amazing ideas that can truly change society when you let yourself dive into your creative mind. It doesn't have to be good. In fact, if it's not good, I think that's totally awesome. Because, okay, hear me out here. AI is really good. So when you make art that's not good, you are saying, this is made by a human because it looks like shit. Because maybe the more shitty it is, the more human it is. And I'm not just saying I don't just mean like just make something shitty. Make something that speaks to your soul. I'm gonna start doing abstract art. I've never really done abstract art ever, but I think that it's time, because I think there's something just so raw about the expression of abstraction. And I want it to be like from here though, you know what I mean? So make art. It doesn't matter what it looks like, but all that matters is that it's from here. When you practice this agency of doing something for the sake of your soul, for doing something and putting your heart into it, you are going against this endless over content of the endless stream of consumption and AI and videos all over. I don't know, I'm going on a tangent. you are being revolutionary, essentially. And I think it's more and more important to not lose that part of you by having a robot take over it. Okay. The third thing that we are going to do is support real artists. Now, whether it's taking a watercolor class or buying something on Etsy, or even doing something like reading a book because it supports a living artist, that is something that we really need to do. Like, I know in the old Renaissance, you had the whole Medici family who was funding all these artists, and they were giving money so that all these artists could live. I know that's not practical. I know that's probably not going to happen. If it does, though, that would be really cool. But you might not be able to give someone's life savings over to them, but you can subscribe to a Substack, and you can buy a book made by an artist. You know what I mean? Like, you got something that you can do. Even if it's buying a $3 sticker, you are essentially telling an artist, saying like, hey, keep it up. If this is how you make your living, I am supporting your living. I want you to keep making art. That is one of the most beautiful things that you can do, is to tell someone, I want you to keep making art. Please making art. You can even support people without money too, now that I think about it. Just encourage your friends who are artists, even if you're jealous of them. Now, the last thing that I think that we need to do to bring on the Renaissance is to create more community amongst artists. It's my dream to start an artist networking group. It's my dream to get together in the park and draw and paint and talk about our experience. We do have the power to change the way things are. And if we want to live in a world that is encouraging of people to do what they love, if we want to live in a world that encourages people to take their time and move slowly through life and enjoy the little moments and enjoy handmade art, it is up to us to start it. That's why having this new Renaissance is so important. Like, I'm expecting you to do something like this too. I am literally going to post on Eventbrite right now, artist networking event. I am literally going to reach out to people and offer my murals so that they could have a free public mural. I am literally going to go on Etsy and buy some stickers. Like, this is all actions that you can take to support a world that you would like to live in more. So if you guys aren't gonna help me, I'm gonna do it. I'll start a Renaissance. I'll do it myself. Bitch. No, don't add that in the video. I really do think it's possible. I do think that we are able to create a society that values art. That is the main goal. And it starts with individual people. Thanks for listening.